Hi guys and girls, I'm Opposite Ant and I'm back here with Elite Dangerous, once again using Cobra Commander. I'm actually enjoying getting back into a Sidewinder here with very little resources and trying to complete the various missions, and of course it gives a perspective of what new players experience when they get into this game for the first time. So for the first time on this new start, I thought it time to head out to a new system and try some combat, as well as later on some variation in missions. Now the missions turned out to be more tricky than I could have ever expected, although we'll get to that in a little while. First up though, I come here to Beagle Landing to do a bit of outfitting and see what I could upgrade my ship to. Don't have a lot of money of course at this point, but I do have enough to put some improved shields on, as well as hopefully a couple of other upgrades. Now there's no resource extraction sites here in Acela's Primus. That's because all the ring systems here are actually made out of ice. Once again, from a new player point of view, it's not immediately obvious where you would need to go to do some combat. If you want to get into combat into most other games, you know almost exactly where you'd need to go. And of course, Elite doesn't really give you any guides as to how to do that. It wouldn't be obvious, for example, to go into a resource extraction site to do some bounty hunting. Neither would it be that obvious to go to a nav beacon. But nonetheless, I know I've got experience, so that is where I decided to head. We went over here to Åhlin and went to the local nav beacon there, where I got involved in a little bit of nice combat. But on the route, I did get interdicted. This interdiction could actually represent the first time I got involved in combat with this ship. Sidewinders are actually quite proficient with combat when it really comes down to it, and that is largely because of their manoeuvrability. I'm actually planning on staying in this ship for as long as I actually can, and in fact sitting inside a Sidewinder with VR is actually one of my favourite ships. They very much have the appearance of tatty loved old ships, and it's quite easy to get attached to them. Although of course I appreciate that there are much better ships out there. In fact, nearly every ship is probably better than a Sidewinder in terms of its ability to get involved in pretty much any activity. Eventually I guess I will work my way up to a Cobra, being Cobra Commander. That would make sense, but for now it's a Sidewinder that we're stuck in. At any rate, the interdiction there proved very easy to evade, so I didn't get in combat at that point anyway, and the second interdiction here proved even easier to evade. I guess the assailant crashed into the nearby sun or something. Now, nav beacons and resource extraction sites as well represent a great opportunity to make a whole bunch of cash when you're starting out with a new save or as a new player. They're chock full of all types of ships, including pirates as well as just traders, but also the odd NPC that just can't mind where they're going. And they smashed to smithereens there by the Type 9. Wondered if he was perhaps a pirate in some type of hurry to get away, but nope, he's just a regular guy, obviously not watching where he's going. My ship was completely stationary at that point. So a quick scan around, and I was looking for a few targets to attack, someone that was wanted, hopefully some ships that aren't too powerful. An adder of course is quite a ripe target exactly for that. And now on previous occasions I've started with new saves, and then you always jump straight into bounty hunting. It's a very quick way of making a lot of money, and within an hour you can get yourself into a Viper very easily, sometimes even a Cobra. And it's certainly possible to get yourself into a Cobra within 1.5 hours to 2 hours. But that's not the route I'm going to take this time. I just wanted to come here and try out a bit of combat just to get myself a little bit of extra money, and then move on to a couple of the newer missions that come out with Horizons and patch 1.5. I made relatively short work of the adder here. It took a little while to take him down, but he didn't do any damage in return. And then of course I just moved on to other targets here. Most of them are under attack by other ships, other NPCs, and so essentially you're just getting kill assists, but you do get a full bounty reward even for that, which is how I got a nice chunk of money there for taking down some of the larger ships, the gunship just now, and of course the Imperial Clipper here. But with around 150,000 credits made in 15 minutes or so, I thought it was time to move on and get to those missions before I made myself a millionaire already. Now, there is a few missions that I haven't actually tried out previously, and this was my first attempt at a meeting up mission like this. Now, in hindsight, I perhaps shouldn't have done it because there are quite a few bad reports about these types of missions, but I wanted to give it a go nonetheless. In this case, I had to meet up with a guy called Jim Clark, who was going to give me more details apparently or even a consignment package so that I could continue or complete the mission. And I needed to meet him in this system here at a set time. So looking around the system to see what type of ships were actually here, didn't seem likely he was in a Type 7 transporter, but I assumed that what would happen is that the NPC would drop out of warp and I could follow his wake into regular space, and then, well, I guess we'd talk with each other. And here, after a few minutes, Jim Clark appeared on the info panel up there, along with the Spaghetti Monster in the same system apparently. Good old Spaghetti Monster. But I followed Jim Clark to his wake, dropped out into regular space, and he did indeed give me some further instructions about what I'd need to do to complete this mission. Now, old Jim here began to summarise the mission for me, telling me that I must be the contact and that he had a package for me that I needed to take to Headley Relay. Great, I thought, seems easy enough. I was also told that I mustn't peek into the package because it's confidential. Now, I did wonder that if I took this package somewhere, perhaps I'd get chased down like you do sometimes when doing those smuggling missions. You get chased by NPCs that are quite interested in your cargo. But the thing was, when old Jim here had finished talking to me, I couldn't actually find the package that I'd apparently been given. Now, I don't know if it was actually meant to be a physical package or whether it was meant to be a data package, but I had nothing in my cargo hold, and the mission panel on the info tab, on the transaction tab rather, hadn't actually changed at all. It was still giving me the same old instructions to come and meet Jim Clark in this system. At any rate, Jim had told me what I needed to do. He'd given me the instructions to head to Headley Relay, so that is where I decided to go after having a quick look at the galaxy map there and rechecking the instructions just in case I'd actually missed something. I went onwards to the destination. It wasn't a particularly long trip, and I have of course upgraded my jump drive, allowing me to travel from system to system that much quicker. Now, I assumed as I'd completed the mission up to this point, I would just be able to go to the bulletin board and see the next step in the mission, or even complete the mission, but there was nothing there to allow me to do that. I then started to wonder what I should perhaps be doing if I was missing something. After double checking other missions here just to make sure I wasn't actually missing something, I had a look at the transactions tab, and it was still telling me to go and meet Jim Clark, something I'd already done. Maybe then I thought I should have some cargo in my cargo hold, or some information that I was perhaps missing, but of course that wasn't there either. Now, one thing I didn't actually do was check the contacts panel, and I perhaps should have done that. Maybe there was something in the contacts, but I have heard that these missions are broken, that they're bugged, and that there's basically nothing you can do to complete them other than just abandon them at this point. Bit of a shame, but with experience of this game I can take that on the chin and just move on, and I know that given time Frontier will eventually get around to fixing this, but I don't think they have actually publicly commented on the state of these missions yet, and if I was a new player to the game, I may not have even visited the forums or seen any information at all from Frontier, and so be completely unaware as to what even is going on there. There's no obvious indication that the mission is broken, so that could prove perhaps a little bit frustrating. At any rate, I soon moved on to a new base assault mission. This was a medium-sized base with medium security. I do quite like these types of missions, as although they're not necessarily a challenge, they are quite a diversion, quite interesting to actually do. And that, of course, is mostly because I like driving the SRV around so much. Now, there is a new method of doing these that some people have been doing. In particular, Vindicator Jones has popularised it with his YouTube video, and that is to take a ship out here which is completely loaded up with missile racks and just basically destroy everything from the ship. Of course, these places do have anti-ship turrets, but if you've got a ship capable of defending itself, a ship with decent enough shields, you can probably defend yourself against those for a little while. And we just passed the security door there, which you can see was actually closed. So the trick here is to find the security panel and get that door unlocked. But if you're going to do this from the air, you won't need to worry about that, as you can just fly over the base and essentially destroy everything with your missiles. Now, I'm pretty sure Frontier may not let that type of way of dealing with these missions stand. They'll probably come up with some sort of method to change things around a little bit. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see what happens with that. Now, there's no in-game audio with this particular section, and I apologise about that, but for some reason all the audio went out of sync with the video and I wasn't able to get it back in alignment again. So for this particular section we haven't actually got any audio, so as the turrets are firing at me you won't be able to hear anything. I used to have that problem a lot with shadow play, but since moved on to Bandicam and it hasn't been a problem, but it's quite possible that a setting within Bandicam has changed somehow. So now as I come past that security door you can see that it is now open, meaning that I can just simply drive in there and have a look around for the generator that I need to destroy. But I did wait here a minute for my shields to recharge because I knew there was going to be a couple of turrets in here. They're usually not too much of a challenge to deal with, but you want to be careful because once your shields have gone down they will strip away your hull quite fast. What I like about these bases is that they're nearly always laid out quite differently to each other, and they're very nice to actually get in here and start driving around in. As I've mentioned in previous videos, David Braben did mention recently that there will be larger cities apparently later on in season 2, although we've never actually been given any more details on that. But it's something I'd really like to see, especially if we get some more life down here on these planets. What I'd really like to see is these settlements being defended by air defences, the ships just flying around and then protecting you, but that's something that is off the table apparently, or at least for the medium term, something that's not going to be in the game, which is NPC ships attacking us over the surface of planets. Before too long I did find the generator here, located right inside the secure compound, but just at the outer edges of it, so this generator could have certainly been destroyed from the air by totally bombarding this area with missiles. After quickly taking a brief glimpse there just to make sure there was no other turrets, I moved over to the generator then and destroyed it, therefore completing this part of the mission. It was time then to head back and give this mission in, claiming a reasonably decent reward for it. I'd picked this mission up from Headley Relay, which is where you saw me at earlier when I tried to complete the mission with Jim Clark. So after coming here I decided to head back to the planet and saw it had a rather nice little surface feature there, so I decided to try and go down and have a little bit of investigation there. But suddenly I was told that I needed a permit to land on this planet. A bit surprised, I double checked the system map to ensure that I was at the correct location. You can see there that my mission marker is there, so yes, I'm definitely on the right planet. So I assumed that perhaps it's an airspace restriction thing, and that whilst I could land over Headley Relay, I couldn't land anywhere else off the planet. Just to make sure though, I logged out the game, closed it right down, and then come back in again, and then decided to head to Headley Relay, forgoing the previous location. But once I got here, I got the exact same message, permit to land. Very strange, couldn't complete the mission therefore. Another mission I would have to abandon again, I guess. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not complaining about this, but after recording all these missions, I didn't want then to have to just delete the footage simply because they are bugged. Much better to actually put it in and show how things went down. And of course, this wouldn't be the most auspicious start for a new player. At any rate, I look forward to Frontier fixing this so that I can once again move forward with these types of missions. I'll be back with you soon with some more videos. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys and girls next time. Hi guys and girls, I'm Obsidian Ant, and I thought it about time to have a fresh start with Elite Dangerous. Horizons has been released for around a month now, so I really wanted to go back to basics and begin the game from the point where a lot of people start at. Starting out in Elite can be a lot of fun, and I've heard a bunch of people starting again or even buying a new account to do so.